Well, my story is actually very, very personal. It happened when I was delivering my second child, Victoria. They knew that when I delivered my first son, Matthew, that I'd had some trouble with bleeding out. And so they made sure they had all the precautionary there. They told me what was going to happen, and just in case that happened again, they would be able to stop it a lot faster than they did before with Matthew. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. They couldn't stop the bleeding. My husband was rubbing my arm. He was rubbing my arm, and he said, "You're going to be okay. You're going to be fine." And the last thing I remember was pulling him down to me and saying, "I'm not going to be fine. I'm dying, and you need to take really good care of the kids." I literally felt myself leave my body. I felt myself turn around and look at myself laying there on the table. I could see my husband holding my hand. I could see the nurse standing at the door hollering stuff out for the doctors and people to do stuff out there. I left the room and I saw my sister on the phone in the lobby. I did see the light, and I went towards the light. It was at the corner of the room, and I turned around and I went towards the light, and I walked down this long hall. There were these two male figures that were in this back of this hall that I was trying to get to. And one of them saw me first. He was huge, very, very tall. And he turned around and looked at me and said, "What are you doing here?" And the other guy turned around and looked at me and said, "It's not your time right now. Go back." And immediately I went back. I heard the beepings going on. I heard all that stuff happening. And I knew that, that I had just basically knocked on the doors of heaven and returned. The next day when I was in postpartum and I went back to go get her, they hadn't brought her to me yet. So I thought I would just walk down to the nurse's station and then go to the NICU and go get Victoria. I said, "Can I have my daughter so I can try to breastfeed her now?" And I pointed to Victoria, and they said, "Oh no, honey, that's not your daughter. Her mom almost died last night, and we brought her back. That's not your child." I said, "Look at my wrist and look at her foot. They match. That is my daughter." And there were three nurses in there. They said, "We heard stories about you last night. There's no way that you're up, and there's no way that you're walking by yourself." That they did not think that I would be around especially not walking. And I actually went home that afternoon. So total miracle. It impacted my relationships on several different areas. First of all, I feel like I'm here for a reason. I feel like I'm here to definitely raise my children. I very much live in the moment of everything I do. I definitely live in the moment and feel like we all should. I was a Christian to begin with. When I told you I saw my sister out on the phone, what I found out later is my sister was actually calling my mom. She called the church that my mom goes to. And they stopped service and prayed for me during service. And so I truly believe it was a miracle from God that brought me back. You don't hear about a lot of deaths in childbirth anymore, but it still does happen. And that it just happened in my small town that I grew up in, and then it was happening to me. So they literally stopped the service, prayed for me, and I don't question God anymore. I've seen a lot of other miracles in my life, but to me, there is no doubt that there is a God, that there is a heaven, and that He cares for each and every one of us. My outlook on death, I've never really been afraid of dying, but after that, it was such a peaceful experience. I'd read in the Bible that there's no tears in heaven, and you hear songs like that. And it was very, very peaceful. Even though I was leaving everything that I loved and cherished, I wasn't sad. It was just very, very peaceful. So I'm not afraid of dying. I don't go looking to die. I don't go jumping off buildings or anything like that. But I'm certainly not afraid to die at all.